In 2023, a grieving mother from Utah sat in front of a camera, calmly promoting a children's book she had written for her 3 young sons. The book was about loss, about grief, about helping children cope with the death of a father. She spoke gently, almost reassuringly, saying that even though their dad was gone, his presence would always remain with them.
Kids, just because he's not present here with us physically, that doesn't mean his presence isn't here with us.
To the outside world, she looked like a devoted mother doing her best to hold her family together after tragedy. But just weeks later, everything would change, because that same woman, Kouri Richins, would be arrested, accused of murdering the very man she claimed to be grieving. And investigators would soon uncover a story filled with secrets, financial pressure, a suspected affair, and a deadly substance powerful enough to kill within minutes. This is the story of how a husband's sudden death turned into a murder investigation, and how a grieving widow became the prime suspect. In the quiet town of Kamas, Utah, life appeared stable for Kouri Richins and her husband Eric Richins. They had been married for 9 years. Together, they were raising 3 young boys. Eric was a successful businessman. Kouri worked in real estate and was building her career. From the outside, they looked like a normal, happy family. But behind closed doors, things were far from perfect. According to investigators, the marriage had been under growing tension. There were financial disagreements, trust issues, and serious concerns about money. At some point, Eric began to suspect that his wife was mishandling finances. So he made a decision that would later become a key part of the case. He quietly changed his estate plans. He removed Kouri as a beneficiary from one of his life insurance policies, and he placed control of his estate in the hands of his sister. It was a move that suggested one thing very clearly: he no longer trusted his wife. Prosecutors would later argue that this decision may have set everything in motion, because at the same time, Kouri's financial situation was reportedly getting worse. Her real estate business was struggling, and according to court documents, she was facing serious financial pressure. But money wasn't the only issue. Investigators also alleged that Kouri was involved in an affair, and according to prosecutors, she wanted a new life, one that did not include her husband. But divorce could complicate everything, especially when it comes to money and custody of their children. So instead, prosecutors believe she chose a different path. On February 14, 2022, Valentine's Day, something strange happened. That morning, Kouri left her husband a sandwich before heading out. Later that day, Eric began to feel extremely sick. He texted his wife saying he might need to go to the hospital. But what he said next would later send chills through investigators. He messaged a friend and said, "I think my wife tried to poison me." His condition got worse. He broke out in hives. He used an EpiPen, and he drank a full bottle of Benadryl trying to control the reaction. At one point, he even told a friend, "You almost lost me." But somehow, he survived. At the time, it was treated as a medical scare. But after what happened next, investigators would look back at this moment very differently. Around that same time, another piece of the story was quietly unfolding. A woman who worked as a house cleaner for Kouri would later tell police something shocking. She claimed that Kouri had asked her to obtain fentanyl. Fentanyl is an extremely powerful synthetic opioid, often deadly in very small amounts. According to the house cleaner, she contacted a drug dealer and purchased pills she believed contained fentanyl. She then gave those pills to Kouri. But that wasn't the end of it. Weeks later, Kouri allegedly asked for more. And this time, she wanted something stronger. At one point, she even referred to it as some of the Michael Jackson stuff, a chilling reference to powerful drugs linked to overdose deaths. On March 3, 2022, the Richins household appeared normal. That evening, Kouri told investigators she prepared drinks for herself and her husband. They were celebrating a business milestone. She brought cocktails into their bedroom. Later that night, she claimed one of their sons had a bad dream, so she went to sleep in his room around 9:30 p.m. Hours passed. Then, at 3:21 in the morning, Kouri made a 911 call. She told dispatchers she had found her husband unresponsive. When first responders arrived, they immediately noticed something unusual. Eric had been dead for some time. Kouri later described the moment she found him. She said when she touched him, he felt cold like a cement brick. At first, Eric's death may have seemed sudden but unexplained. But the autopsy would reveal the truth. Eric Richins had died from a fentanyl overdose. Not just a small amount, but approximately 5 times the lethal dose. Investigators immediately began asking questions. How did fentanyl get into his system? Kouri suggested a possible explanation. She told investigators that Eric sometimes used THC gummies, and maybe one had been contaminated. But there was a problem. Toxicology reports found no THC in his system, and the gummies in their home tested negative for fentanyl. That explanation didn't hold up. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered more suspicious details. Kouri had told police she discovered her husband and immediately called 911. But phone records showed something else. Her phone had been unlocked multiple times in the minutes before the call. She was active, awake, doing something, before calling for help. Then came another major discovery. Over 800 messages had been deleted from her phone. Many of them were conversations with the house cleaner, the same person who claimed she had purchased fentanyl for Kouri. Even more concerning, her internet search history. After her husband's death, Kouri searched things like how police recover deleted data, life insurance payouts, women's prisons in Utah, and even, if someone is poisoned, what does it say on the death certificate? To investigators, this pattern painted a disturbing picture. As the investigation continued, prosecutors focused on motive. At the time of Eric's death, his estate was worth millions. There were also multiple life insurance policies totaling over $2 million. Meanwhile, Kouri's financial situation was deteriorating. Her business was struggling, and according to prosecutors, she was spiraling toward financial collapse. Investigators also discovered she had attempted to secure additional life insurance policies on Eric shortly before his death. To prosecutors, the theory was clear. Kouri stood to gain financially from Eric's death, and she may have been planning a new life without him. More than a year after Eric's death, in May 2023, Kouri Richins was arrested. She was charged with aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, insurance fraud, and forgery. Despite the growing evidence against her, Kouri pleaded not guilty. As the case moved toward trial, a surprising development emerged. The alleged drug dealer, the person connected to the fentanyl, changed his story. He now claimed he had not sold fentanyl. The defense quickly seized on this. They argued that without proof of fentanyl being provided to Kouri, the prosecution's case falls apart. But prosecutors pushed back. They argued that even without that testimony, the overall evidence still strongly points to guilt. Now, nearly 3 years after Eric Richins' death, the case is heading to trial. Prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kouri intentionally poisoned her husband. The defense will argue that the case is based on assumptions, not direct proof, and at the center of it all is a mother who once stood in front of cameras, talking about grief. As of now, Kouri Richins has not been convicted. She remains presumed innocent under the law. Her trial will determine whether she is guilty of murdering her husband, or whether the evidence leaves room for doubt. If convicted of aggravated murder, she could face life in prison. But until a verdict is reached, the truth remains in the hands of the jury. And the question still lingers: was this a tragic accident, or a carefully planned murder hidden behind the image of a grieving wife? Cases like this remind us that sometimes, the most shocking crimes are the ones that happen behind closed doors, where no one expects them. What do you think about this case? Do you believe the evidence is enough to prove guilt, or do you think there is still reasonable doubt? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this documentary engaging and want more real-life crime stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. Your support helps keep these stories alive and ensures that the truth is never forgotten. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next true crime documentary.